All right, I'm here with Pastor Reggie. I'm going to ask him 5 questions. Pastor Reggie, what is the worst decision you ever made?
You know, that's a tough one. The worst decision that I've ever made. I think the worst decision that I've ever made is putting people in positions of leadership based on liking them and not effectiveness. Okay. And part of the reason why that was a bad decision is because you want people who are effective, leaders, not just people that you like.
Yeah. All right, next question. What is the best decision you ever made that affected someone else?
On the contrary, probably the best decision I've made that affected somebody else is having the right leaders in place. Okay. Or I would say, something like my job, what I do in player development is probably one of the best decisions that I've made because it affects other people by giving them an opportunity to grow and develop.
Okay. Next question. What is the worst decision someone has made that directly affected you?
I think the worst decision someone has made that has directly affected me was when I was working with a previous ministry. They cut the budget and cut the salary without telling anybody for 2 weeks.
Wow. That
was a bad decision.
That's crazy. Next question. Who or what are you loyal to?
I'm loyal to vision. The goals that I have for myself, the vision I have for myself, and I'm loyal to people who give me opportunity and the people that I work with. I'm almost loyal to a default. I'm loyal to a cause even. Those are the things I say I'm loyal to.
All right. Next question. How do you decide between being loyal to yourself and loyal to someone else?
I think that people are transient. People are transitional. And while it's good to be loyal to people, I have to also prioritize. So being loyal to myself includes being loyal to my family. If at a moment that the people that I'm loyal to is in conflict with my family, or even my calling or the things that I have direct responsibility over, that's when most of the time there's a separation or a break.
All right. The last question is, who determines the amount of loyalty someone has towards you?
That's a good question. I think the amount of loyalty that someone has towards me is determined by both me and the person. If I'm respectful, if I reward and even appreciate the people that work with me, many times they're loyal to me. But sometimes that doesn't always pan out right. Sometimes people determine if they're going to be loyal to me or not based on their own agenda or their own desires.
Well, that's it. Thanks, Pastor Reggie.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, man. Good luck to you.
All right, I'm here with Miss Teresa Eggers, and I'm going to ask her 5 questions. What is the worst decision you ever made?
In looking back over my 49 years, the worst decision I ever made was not accepting the athletic scholarships that I had.
Where did you have scholarships?
UNC Greensboro, UNC Asheville, and here at Appalachian State.
What sport?
Sports, basketball, and softball.
Sports. Next question. What is the best decision you ever made that affected someone else?
Removing myself from certain work situations. I'm a very strong type A personality, and I felt for my coworkers so that they could grow in their positions. I needed to remove myself and allow them the opportunity to start from scratch and learn the process of what they were hired to do instead of me stepping in and doing it for them.
Yeah. Next question. What is the worst decision someone has made that directly affected you?
Before coming to athletics, I was in academics. I worked in healthcare management program here on campus at the College of Business. And then I was asked to come over to athletics as a ticket manager. And once coming here full time in this department, I found that some people had chosen not to like me based on things that others had said that I was going to be working with. And then once they did build a relationship or a friendship with me, they saw differently. And of course for Miss Kim and myself, that's a prime example because it happened direct with us, and now we're best friends.
That's good. Next question. Who or what are you loyal to?
I guess the three things that I'm most loyal to are God, family, and friends.
Next question.
Notice I didn't say work in that.
Yeah. How do you decide between loyal to yourself and loyal to someone else? All right, let me read that again. How do you decide between being loyal to yourself and someone else?
Well, I think you first have to define loyalty, or the part of being loyal. And that's giving or showing a form of commitment. And I think in order to be, first you have to be loyal to yourself, trustworthy, reliable, dependable, and be happy with yourself. And then I think that in turn creates loyalty with others that you surround yourself with, whether it be friends, co-workers, or just acquaintances.
All right, last question. Who determines the amount of loyalty someone has towards you?
I would have to say you are the determinant factor of that, because again, it's about giving and receiving. And I think if you, in order to earn respect or loyalty, you in turn have to give that first for them to trust you enough to commit to you and be loyal.
That was the last question. Thank you, Ms. Haggis.
Well, thank you.
All right. All right, I'm here with Ryan Bowers. I'm asking 5 questions. First question, what is the worst decision you ever made?
There's a lot of them, Ty. There's a lot of them. But the worst decision I ever made was as a sophomore in college. I went to a place called Quaker Steak. They got like all-you-can-eat wings. We used to go there all the time on Tuesday nights. And I did the Atomic Wing Challenge one night. And I didn't talk to anybody for about 3 hours after that. My mouth was just on fire the whole time. And then I made the mistake of like rubbing my eyes. And it was just bad. It was bad. Tears everywhere. Brutal.
Why did you do it? Why did you do it?
I did it. You know,
We keep going.
it was peer pressure. Really, is what it was. My friends just all wanted me to do it. I didn't take any money from anybody to do it or anything like that. Nobody bribed me. It was just they told me I couldn't do it. I told them I could, and I couldn't. So
wait,
it was bad.
You asked the question, then you said the same thing you just said. Say why did you do it?
Energy. Give me energy.
Why
Come
did
on.
you eat the wings?
So why did I eat the wings? I mean, just because my friends told me I couldn't do it, and they challenged me, and you know, sometimes I can be a competitive person, so I took that challenge and I failed miserably.
All right, next question. What is the best decision you ever made that affected someone else?
The best decision I ever made that affected someone else. That's a tough question. I think. Oh man, I gotta think about that for a little bit. That's a tough one.
All right, we can come back to
Let's
that.
come back to that one.
Yeah.
Let's think about that.
All right, next question is, what is the worst decision someone has made that directly affected you?
Worst decision someone's made that directly affected me. Oh man. I don't know. I mean, maybe this could go for a lot of people. You say like getting turned down for a job or something like that. But, you know, maybe you weren't the right fit either for that job. But certainly that's got a negative impact. I remember one time I thought I was going to get hired for a job that I didn't get, and because of that, I had to change a lot of things in life. But because that didn't happen, I ended up here where I am now, and it's a good place. So it ended up being a good thing, but at the time it was a negative impact.
What job was it that you were applying for?
I was actually applying for an assistant sports information director job, kind of the same thing I do now, but at a different school that I thought I had a real good shot at, and it was actually a place I'd previously worked, and they just didn't feel like I was the right fit, and so unfortunately it didn't work out, but in the end it worked out for the better.
All right. Next question. Who or what are you loyal to?
My family, above anything. They're the most important people in my life. My mom and my dad, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents. I mean, they've all been encouraging in anything I've ever wanted to do. My parents raised me, I think, pretty well. They did a good job with all of us. They're always there for you if you needed them, and so I'm intensely loyal to them. If anything were to happen to them or they needed anything, I'd be there in a minute.
All right. To build off of that, how do you decide between being loyal to yourself or loyal to someone else?
How do I decide being loyal to myself or other people? That's a good question. I think it's really easy to be selfish sometimes, to be loyal to yourself and do what's best for you. But I think you gotta look at the bigger picture, and maybe there's times you have to sacrifice some things in order to make everyone else around you a little bit better. And so I think it's really hard to weigh that balance. But that's that's what you have to do. You have to look at it critically and say, is the decision I'm making going to negatively affect more people, you know, than the positive decision I can make or whatever, or the other decision. So you have to, I mean, it's tough, but you can weigh it, and you know, I think it's more important to be, you know, maybe loyal to other people than loyal to yourself. You know, I've been taught, you know, not to be selfish and things like that. So, you know, I think you do that, and other people will help you out in the long run.
All right, next question. Who determines the amount of loyalty someone has towards you?
I think that who determines the amount of loyalty someone has towards you? That's a great question. I think you determine it by your actions towards that person, because you're going to build the relationship with that person, and you're just as responsible for maintaining that relationship and improving it as the other person is. So you determine how loyal they are to you by your actions towards them.
All right. Coming back to the question from earlier, it's going to be the last question.
Sure.
What is the best decision you ever made that affected someone else?
The best decision I ever made that affected someone else was probably helping my little sister figure out where she needed to go to college. She initially wanted to come here to Appalachian, which I thought would be awesome to have my little sister here, and that kind of be fun to have a family member down here. But you know, in talking to her about and things, we realized there was a better fit for her somewhere else, and it was more closely tied to what she wants to do with her future. And so that was one of those instances where we both wanted to be a little selfish and be able to hang out together and be in the same place. But you know, we both kind of realized it was better for her to go somewhere else.
All right, that's it. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm here with Matthew Hamilton. I have 5 questions for this fine man right here. What is the worst decision you ever made?
The worst decision I've ever made was probably freshman year in college. This pertains to giving into peer pressure and probably having a little too much to drink when I was underage, and one thing led to another, and that kind of ended up getting in a bunch of trouble through the school, and that kind of affected the other 3 years now I'm a senior of how I handle myself outside of the classroom and around campus.
All right. Next question. What is the best decision you ever made that affected someone else?
The best decision I've ever made was probably to come to college. I think that really affected my family, helping my little brothers decide they want to do something along that lines, and being able to get a degree and give back to my family when they need it.
So you're saying you're a role model?
I try to be to my little brothers.
Next question. What is the worst decision someone has made that directly affected you?
The worst decision someone else has made, probably I'll have to say my high school coach cutting me when I was in high school, because obviously I was down in the dumps at that point, but that led me to want to become a coach, and I started coaching instead of playing basketball in high school, doing AAU, and then when I got here, helping out with the basketball team here to hopefully pursue a career in coaching down the line.
All right. Next question. Who or what are you loyal to?
Loyal to my family, obviously. They've always been there for me. My mom and dad. I got 3 other brothers, so they're real loyal, helping us out whenever we need to. And of course, my brothers, because we've grown up together, and then all my other relatives.
All right. To continue off of that, how do you decide between being loyal to yourself or being loyal to someone else?
I would have to say it comes down to what situation it is, and who the person is. If you can trust that person, like if it's one of my family members or maybe a good buddy that I really trust, and they're asking for something, that I can help them and know that they're not going to stab me in the back, or they'll return the favor later on. But if it's someone maybe that's I've had experiences with that stabbed me in the back earlier, I might be a little bit loyal and selfish to myself when it comes to some decisions.
Would you consider yourself a loyal person?
I would.
You would?
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Who determines the amount of loyalty someone has towards you?
I would say you in the situation that it pertains to. If someone's loyal to you, you gotta be loyal back. But just like if you want someone to be loyal to you, you got to give loyalty to them so they will return the favor down the road.
All right, that's it. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, sir.